I saw a story about someone who got a news that he lost his dad and he was on air. And he did not shake. He finished reading the news. And after reading the news, he went back to cry. I'm like, oh no.
So funny story, that happened to my co-host in Asaba, Hot FM Asaba, Victor People.
Welcome to today's episode on She Create Podcast. And I'm your host, Jumai Smalls. We have a very interesting episode lineup today. An exciting one. Yes. And on today's episode, I am thrilled to have a conversation with a media maven. Someone who is very talented, an outstanding voiceover actor, an on-air personnel, and also a red carpet host. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for Ella the Fart.
So for the first time, I understood how it feels to be a guest pastor, and you're calling your hands. You don't know how to act. You don't know maybe to smile.
Like, what should I do, right?
So it's a pretty confusing feeling, but thank you very much.
It's weird that you're on this other side of the table.
I know they don't ask me questions. I ask the question.
The question. And I saw on your page one post where you say you're very shy. How? Yes. Why is it like that? Why is the majority of people behind in front of the camera, on TV, on radio, they come out that they're shy?
So that's the thing. It's a conscious decision. That goes to show that the reason we went through a lot to overcome our fear to face our passion. So yes, that's it means we're warriors and we're fighters.
Yeah, actually, we are warriors because I'm on this part because I'm a very shy person too. But
you're what?
I'm a very shy person.
Well, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Oh no, for me, I'm very shy.
I don't believe you. I don't. You don't even look quarter to shy, but that's okay if you insist.
Yes, please. I'm a shy person. I insist. All right. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you coming here today out of your busy schedule, but you made it down here. We got the rain and the flooded Lagos. This is like my best season.
I hate it actually.
Like raining season and Harmattan is like my favorite because the weather is cold.
I prefer Harmattan because it's dry.
No, the season before this one, what's going on? Did someone leave El Dorado open?
Well, I'm beginning to believe that global warming is real.
It's real.
There was a time I didn't, but I do now.
All right, let's get into this episode.
Okay.
Ella, can you? You responded like a mother responding to her daughter. What happened? Talk your mother.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's talk about you, your journey into media, into broadcasting. Let's have it.
It's a long story, but I'll make a quick summary of it.
Right.
And so how did it start? When I left the University of Benin in 2015, I went back to stay with my sister who lives in Delta State, Asaba. She's a nurse, by the way. So it was that period of confusion. You know, after studying English in school, I'm out and reality has dawned on me. Okay, what do I do with English language? So do I become a teacher? I don't know. So I was just at home. It was a very, dicey period. So my sister would go to work. I'll be at home morning till night thinking so hard what I want to do with my life. And then one day she came back from work and she told me, by the way, there's a new radio station in Asaba. Would you like to audition? And I'm like, okay, let's try it out. I mean, why not? I had to call a friend of mine who was a radio presenter at the time in KUFM Benin. Okay. So I called him. His name is Chaika. I said, Chaika, do you know anybody in Hot FM? Can you plug me in? And he says, oh, he has a friend whose name is Psych, or he went by the name Psych at the time, that he will talk to him for me, which he did. Spoke to Psych. He gave me Psych's number, asked me to call, which I did. And then Psych set up a meeting for me with the head of presenters, who was at the time Lady E, right? So she invited me to the studio for a quick interview. I went and I was expecting, her to ask me radio questions. Well, I've never done radio prior to the time, but I just, braced up and went. So when I got there, the interview happened in the live studio. And I remember that day like yesterday, because when I stepped into the studio, when it comes to equipment and all these, I didn't expect to see, although I just knew that, okay, you talk on the radio, but I forgot that there's something like the console. So when I got in and I saw a console with so many buttons, I'm like, I don't want to do it again. I want to be a teacher now, because those things confuse me. But then I sat down. She didn't ask me any question in regards to radio or broadcasting. She was just conversing with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, what is this man trying to achieve? And when she was done, she told me to resume the next week.
Oh, wow.
What she did was try to see if I can hold down a conversation and speak well. So she was impressed, and that was how I started working at Hot FM. I worked there for like 3 years before I came back to Lagos. Wow. So that's how I got on radio.
She's the host for Mark's Breakfast Show.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, how do you tend to manage pressure when you go live? And it's easier when it's recorded because you can always edit something. But how do you manage that pressure that comes with going live?
So the thing is, sometimes I say that radio has made me, I don't want to use the word toxic, but for the lack of a better word. So it has given me split personality. I remember 2 occasions. The first one was, I was very, very stressed from house, work. Too many things were bothering me at the same time, and I could not come on air and fake the energy, which most radio presenters do. Come and fake the energy and go. But I could not that day. I remember trying to ginger myself. So if I want to ginger myself, or when I want to ginger myself, I'll tap on my lap and then scream, right? So I kept tapping on my lap and shouting, but it was not working. I said, okay, let's do this. As I turned up the fader, there was silence. I couldn't even speak.
Wow.
And then I started crying. So I put the fader down because I was too overwhelmed. As a human being,
Did the tears go on air?
I don't know. At this point, I don't even care. So I just walked out of the studio, and I had a co-host. He was just looking at me because it was like a movie.
Yeah.
So he didn't know what to do. So I just walked out of the studio and went to my boss's office, and I sat down and I said, I'm tired. That's all I could say. And I was crying.
Wow.
So he looked at me and said, are you hungry? One thing about me is no matter what I'm going through,
I must eat.
my appetite never leaves me. So I'm like, yes, I'm hungry. So that's another thing. I find myself working in a very healthy environment where people genuinely care about the person.
Yeah.
So at the moment, the show was not priority. I was priority. So he said, do you want to eat? I said, yes. He took me out, bought me food. I ate. He asked me what the problem was. I told him, well, the little I could tell him. And he comforted me, and it's not as if the comfort or the words he said to me solved my issues, but it made me feel like at least these people care. So I had like 2 hours off the show and then came back to the show. The problem was still there.
How many hours?
It's a 5-hour show.
So what happened in that hour?
My co-host held it down.
All right.
I'm like, okay. I came back refreshed, rejuvenated. So how do I handle stress? I just told you about how sometimes it gets too overwhelming and you can't handle it.
Yeah, but you know that they used to say that no matter your emotions, don't bring it on air.
That's rubbish, actually. So the reason why I say that is rubbish, the thing about being a radio presenter is you're bringing yourself. It's not like you're working in... How do I explain this? So your job is you. Yeah. Your company is paying you to be vulnerable to people outside. So... I mean, you can't tell me to leave my emotion because I work with my emotion is very important in this job. So I have to be, well, I can't be 100% all the time, but at least I have to be above average.
Average, yeah. You have to carry people along.
So don't tell me that my emotion. So you have to make. I'll do my part to make sure that my mental health and my emotions are in check. But the company too has to do their part because I work for them with my person.
So I used to be on radio too as well, and there are days when I don't just feel like my show was always in the 9th show by 10 p.m. Ladies Lounge. There are days when I don't feel like, I'll have to ginger myself. I had we're 3 on the show, so if I don't feel like the other two carry the show, right? So at the days that I'm supposed to be the one to anchor, host the show, I'm like, and I don't feel like, I'm like, I can't do this. Because I got a training where they say no matter your emotions, don't bring it.
Please throw that
Please,
talk
you
away.
have to be excited. It has to be exciting if the show is an exciting episode. And I saw a story about someone who got a news that he lost his dad and he was on air. And he did not shake. He finished reading the news, and after reading the news, he went back to cry. I'm like, oh no.
So funny story, that happened to my co-host in Asaba, Hot FM Asaba, Victor Pepple.
Yeah.
So we did the show together. He didn't even tell me. We did the show as usual. Like, he was laughing as usual.
Hey God.
It was when we're done. He said, casually, my papa don't die.
Hey, wait.
I said, which day? He said they told him last night. I'm like, oh wow.
So what skills do you think is essential to be successful in this career path?
Okay, so there are a couple, but I want to emphasize one, which is storytelling. Storytelling is an actual skill that every presenter, be it radio, TV, has to have, because I mean, these days the news is open to everybody. Everybody knows all the gossip. It was not like before where you have to buy, a Encomium magazine to look at the juicy gist and stuff, or the news, or what's it called, newspapers. But now it's everywhere. It's in your face. So everything that you're going to say, everybody knows it already. So why should I listen to you tell me that Davido is getting married this Saturday or whatever? Why should I listen to you tell me? So the only thing that will differentiate you from the next person in another station is the way you tell the story. So one skill you have to have as a radio presenter is you have to be a good storyteller. Yes.
Oh, okay. Are there like major technical skills as well that one should have?
Technical skills. When it comes to the technicality of the job, basically it's just talking, but there are other sides of radio which people don't see, which is the production aspect. So sometimes your show is live as well as produced.
Yeah.
So it's good to know how to use your Adobe Audition.
Yeah.
I don't know how to use it 100%.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
But you know how to use it. You know how to use it now. You should know how to use it.
Well, I really don't enjoy. That's the thing, right? I don't enjoy that technical aspect, right? I like to focus on the, the creativity part of speaking and but yeah. So you should be able to know how to use Adobe Audition, maybe just produce one or two quick. It doesn't need to be. You don't need to have the in-depth. Just one or two things that will be nice for your show. Yeah.
Then again, I feel like presenting is beyond just talking.
Oh yeah.
It's beyond just talking. Is there like a is there like a research work you do before you turn on your mic? I know that there should be something you do before you just turn on your mic and start speaking. You can't just sit and you start speaking. I know that it says a skill when you can talk about anything as soon as you see the mic comes on, as soon as you're live, you should be able to talk about anything. But I feel like there should be something.
Of course.
But what are those things?
You have to prep before your show, right? You have to do your show prep, and most cases after doing that, you send it to your line manager, not because you don't know what you're doing, but just for extra vetting, okay, so that you don't go and say what will put you in trouble, that you're getting sued, or the company is getting sued, and it's because of you, and it also helps because two heads or more is better. So your line manager can see something and like, okay, I think you should. And that's totally fine. So yes, I usually research before. I mean, everybody has to do that, right? Research before I go on air, or write things down. And the thing is, I'm constantly researching. You will not be surprised, or you should not be surprised if by Monday I go on air and you listen to me and I picked something that happened here, and tell a story about it. So I'm constantly prepping.
Okay, and who has been the most interesting and influential guest you have interviewed?
There are two. The first ever interview I had was with Zoro at Hot FM. And then it was when he was really, really popping. Then he was popping in the East and some parts of South. Because he had a song, Ogene, that song. So everybody will call and say, oh, play me Ogene every day. I had to start intentionally ignoring people when they say they want to listen to that song. So that's how big it was in the East at the time. So when he came to the studio, I was blown away. That was my first time interviewing a celebrity. So I remember the way I prepared. I wrote all the questions down. But thank God I had help as well. My co-host Victor Pepper was there as well too. We did it together. Because if it were just me, I don't know, it would have been terrible. But yeah. And the most recent one had to be D'banj.
Oh my.
D'banj is what you call an interviewer's delight. He's very
really?
He's very fun to talk to. You ask question, he has an answer, he has a story. So there's just this thing about telling stories that I really like. He has a way of giving you answers that people would relate to, understand, and it was just perfect. And we spoke like we've known each other before, but that was literally the first time I was seeing him. And it was quite insightful seeing somebody that I love listening to his music, right? So it was genuine, it was beautiful, it was actually me wanting to know stuff about him. So those were my two most outstanding and very memorable interviews.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Thank you for coming on this podcast, and we really do appreciate your presence here with us today.
So where's the minerals?
Producer, we don't do minerals here. Cocktail, champagne. Do you take alcohol?
I said I want minerals.
No, you don't do minerals.
Cold minerals.
You have Mirinda. What's that? What's that? Mountain Dew. Okay. Welcome to the game segment with Ella the Fort. So we'll be asking some questions.
Okay.
It's rapid fire questions. So let's have it. What's the most embarrassing thing ever happened to you at work or school?
At school. I fell off the staircase with, I had my steez on 1000 that day. But I was holding 2 nylon bags of food and then I fell down.
The food.
And it was raining and I had the face cap and holding an umbrella. So the umbrella fell to one side, the face cap fell. And
your crush was not looking at you.
I fell on my bum. Boom. Too funny.
Okay, so what's a hidden talent you have that few people know about?
Can I pass?
Okay, if you could,
no.
I would like to know. Just tell us.
Okay, I can whistle with my nose. I said I can whistle with my nose.
It's not irritating. That's irritating. That's a talent.
Well,
come on.
It will be irritating when I have catarrh.
No. Well, you know I've got that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You know, I saw one guy on the internet that plays that
recorder,
his nose, his mouth to do something like a recorder, I guess, and he does it so well. I think he even went to American Got Talent.
I think he used his nose to play the recorder.
You see, it's not irritating.
Okay,
no.
Okay, if you say so.
Yeah. Okay, so if you could rename a popular dish, what would you call it and why?
Shineke. My God. Okay, if I could rename a popular dish, maybe I'll rename fufu to suffering and pain. Stinky ball.
What has fufu done to you?
Because why will it be smelling like that?
No, I love fufu.
Stink balls. Yes. We'll call it stink balls. Stink balls.
Stink balls.
Yes. So fufu is even very nice. Stink balls. Yeah.
What's the best advice you have ever received from him?
My mom, she would always say whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. Yeah.
Okay. If you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what would it be?
Eating pasta.
Oh God! What kind of food do I have to
eating pasta? Yes, it should be. We should have a competition.
But eating pasta.
Yeah, eating pasta.
If you could have a dinner with an historical figure, who would it be?
historical figure. I'd like to have dinner with Mary Slessor.
And what are you talking about?
I'm going to, ask her what gave her the courage to come down to Africa and help abolish the killing of twins. Yeah.
What is the biggest risk you have ever taken, and was it worth it? If you don't want to share, but was it?
Yes, it was worth it.
Alrighty, thank you so much for this episode. So there is in every episode we have an invisible wall where we get to drop our quotes, and I would like you to give one quote that could inspire someone out there listening and could inspire me as well.
Okay.
So let's have it.
This my quote now will be like sentence.
Let's have it.
Okay. In a nutshell, consistency is key. So just keep doing what you're doing, and it just takes one day. Just one day for you to get noticed, for your work to blow. So if you stop, you never know. Be that day. Yeah, consistency is key.
All right, thank you so much, Ella, for coming on this podcast today. We really do appreciate your presence here.
Thank you for having me.
And we love what you do. We see everything that you do. We're proud of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Insightful conversation today. All right, guys, thank you for listening to today's episode on She Create Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Yes, and share it with your friends, share with your family, share with your enemy. Love your enemy too. So share with everybody around. And thank you for the reviews. We see them. Thank you so much. And until the next episode, stay jiggy, stay up, stay on 100% what? Steez and composure. All right, take care. Have a great day, morning, evening, whatever time you're listening to this. I love you. Bye.